Have you ever had one of those days where you were insanely focused? You completed everything from A to Z perfectly. Your checklist was packed and you felt proud as hell. But then, the next day, you suddenly became slow, tired, foggy, and couldn't even do half of what you did yesterday. If yes, then this is your brain's cognitive fatigue mechanism. Basically, you used up almost all your focus in one day, but your brain never recovered properly. So now it's running on low battery the next day. And here are 10 signs that you actually have a productive brain, along with some ways to recharge your brain mana that I'll talk about later. 1. You can block unnecessary stimulation. A productive brain is a brain that can block automatic behavior. For example, you're working and suddenly your phone notification pops up. If your brain isn't productive, the first thing you do is instantly switch tabs and check it. But a productive brain knows the notification exists without feeling curious about it. Your brain recognizes there's a signal trying to pull you away from your task, but it still keeps moving forward with the work you're doing. And honestly, this is not a small thing anymore. In today's world, whoever can protect their attention basically owns one of the rarest assets alive. Focus isn't automatic anymore. It's something you have to defend. 2. You enter flow state. This is when you stay focused for a long period of time and almost completely ignore everything around you that has nothing to do with your goal. Time moves insanely fast, and after finishing one flow session like that, you feel this super clean type of satisfaction. This is a good sign because the thing you're doing is difficult enough to keep you focused while still interesting enough to make you curious. Once the challenge level feels just right, your brain locks into the task, reduces outside noise, and creates this smooth momentum where you no longer need to force yourself that much anymore. 3. You don't need motivation to start. A productive brain creates its own path. Your brain already built a routine from the moment you wake up, so the first actions of your day become automatic. Maybe brushing your teeth, making your bed, going for a run, then working. A productive brain is a brain that uses the least amount of energy to do the most meaningful things for your life. 4. Your brain switch isn't broken. In today's world, this is insanely rare. For a lot of people, their stress switch is permanently stuck on. They're not truly working, but they're not truly resting either. They're just lying there scrolling on their phones while staring at a screen. But if you're someone who knows when you're genuinely tired and understands that your brain needs recovery and energy recharge, that's huge. Because once this switch breaks, you end up stuck in this half-working, half-exhausted, half-resting, half-guilty state. And that combo is the perfect recipe for brain fog. 5. You know how to adapt without jumping everywhere. Cognitive flexibility is the ability to change strategies when situations change. But it's different from distraction because productive people don't stubbornly stick to bad methods just because I already started. They can recognize when a direction is no longer effective and adjust accordingly. Flexible switching means changing strategies to serve your goal. Random jumping means constantly switching because your brain keeps getting dragged around by stimulation. From the outside, those two things look similar, but internally, they're completely different. One is leadership, the other one is basically your brain getting dragged around like a cow with a nose ring. 6. You can return to tasks after interruptions. If you accidentally get interrupted or pulled away from your work, but your brain still keeps a mental trace of the task and can jump right back into it even after 40 minutes away, functions like alerting, orienting, and executive control help your brain prioritize finding the information again and adjusting behavior under uncertainty. In simpler words, your brain knows how to find its way back after life punches you out of your chair. 7. You intentionally let your brain wander. This is called mind wandering. Your brain temporarily drifts away from reality and imagines unrelated things, which is actually super common for humans. The important part is how you let your brain wander while still being able to return to work easily because you treat that wandering period like a short Pomodoro break. 8. You can hold on to goals even when the environment gets noisy. Imagine going to the supermarket with a shopping list, but while shopping, you get distracted by snacks, discount sections, or randomly meeting someone you know. A productive brain doesn't necessarily memorize the whole list perfectly. It knows how to keep the main goal in mind while also using outside tools like paper or notes to reduce working memory overload. 9. You treat movement as essential for the brain. You go to the gym, walk, meditate, and avoid behaviors that push your brain into overstimulation because you know your brain gets foggy if you abuse those things too much. You're aware of those behaviors and can consciously control them. A productive brain isn't built only through productivity techniques. It also comes from physical recovery. If your body is constantly tired, inactive, and unrecovered, your brain won't stay clear either. 10. Protecting your brain energy is something you think about every single day. You're scared that with a low-energy brain, you won't be able to do anything properly. So one of the first things you do every day is protect your brain from mana-draining activities. Overall, the core of having a productive brain is executive function, the system responsible for working memory, inhibitory control, and cognitive flexibility. First, reduce your mental storage overload. The way your brain functions is kind of like your computer's C drive. If it's completely full and glowing red, your RAM slows down and the entire system becomes laggy. And honestly, in today's world, we don't need more ideas. What you and I actually need are breathing spaces. Don't try to become productive by instantly making things difficult and forcing yourself to rely on willpower, because your willpower is being tempted literally 100% of the time. If your environment is full of distractions, if your phone is always beside your hand, if your schedule is unclear, then you're basically forcing your willpower to fight an entire army of dopamine. Do one task at a time, avoid overstimulation, and give your brain routines that work like reusable templates. This saves your brain an insane amount of fuel. When your brain already knows what comes next, it doesn't waste extra energy making decisions. When the environment becomes less noisy, it no longer has to constantly fight stimulation. When tasks become clearer, your brain stops wandering through a pile of ambiguity and stressing itself out. And the most important thing of all is recovery, which I talked about in this video right here. It's insanely important if you want a productive brain. Paw signing out. Stay sharp, stay weird.